I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Chakodas Bakatham. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders, a great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the occupant across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations. Subscribe to this truth to you. I say shalom. Brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And basically, doing this lesson on this article that I just came across. It was spirit. As soon as I seen it, made me think of a few different things. A couple scriptures popped into mind because the thing is this: they're setting the stage for lawlessness. It's not coincidence that this was put in place in Trump during his presidency, and the whole purpose of Trump was to actually how can I put it? To control the collapse. Trump's a businessman. America's a corporation, if you did not know that. And he was put in charge of the corporation. It never before in history has a businessman been put as the head of the free world. You know what I mean? But once you understand how reality really works and you figure out, oh yeah, America's a corporation, it made all the sense. America was on a decline. You had something called the retail apocalypse, and you had a lot of things going on. So Trump passed legislation and put legislation in place to keep this from basically the government from collapsing, financially, because they still got things that they want to do. It's not coincidence that you got shipping containers that's sitting off the coast of California. You got items just sitting across the coast of California. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Since everybody's so fucking smart, or got an opinion about everything, And did you even know that, with all the ports, the only port that had opened up was the port of Miami? I mean, it's just a lot of stuff going on. But anyhow, when I seen this, I said, oh, yeah, they're setting up something very, very dangerous because, you already got the crime rates on an incline. They're going up because, just because they paint a narrative that is all these jobs and whatnot, it's not what you think. Like, some people can get jobs. That's always been the case. I remember when I was homeless and I got skills, I didn't get a job until I really got in the truth. And I was trying. It wasn't like I was just sitting on my ass smoking crack and nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to get a job. So, but saying that to say this, I remember it was a guy did a video on him. He said he applied to 60 jobs and only got one interview. At the end of the day, with all this legislation that they done passed, a lot of companies, I found out during the pandemic that they said that in the state of Louisiana, every citizen was given $250,000. But basically, every citizen wasn't allowed to collect on it. A lot of citizens didn't even know about it, and then it was certain stipulations. That's just like with the pandemic money. For going to work, you supposed to got extra money, for going to work. And a lot of companies didn't give that to their employees. The county they did. I was in the county. You had CEOs that literally was talking about how they was getting an extra whole check just because they worked during the pandemic. But now the county doesn't even have CEOs. They got the fucking the National Guard in there. Did you know that one? So you watching the police state be built up right in your fucking face. I remember I was just riding, my truck been down for about like a week. I was riding past Cleveland Clinic, and now you got, because they saying a shortage of medical workers, you got the National Guard that's actually helping with those CV shots. And this is just another, it's ultimately Yahweh Shem Shah, because like I said, all things, obey his will. You have the illusion of free will. You don't have free will. And, it tells you in scriptures that the Most High sealeth his instructions while he sleepeth. You don't even do what you think. You know what I mean? Like, right. Ultimately the Lord controls all things. So, This is gonna be a recipe for disaster because when shit get worse, you got to understand. Like I'm a felon, so therefore they put a lot of money in the recidivism rate. They want to know why people offend again. A person might have did 5 years and then they offend again. And the way that society is breaking down and being, how it's going, everybody is going to be it talks about the vanity in the last days, how people will be vain and lovers of themselves. So if your kid's starving, I was watching Alex Jones. He made a statement. He made a statement a couple years back. He said he was going to eat you if he couldn't eat. That's how he'll eat him out. He said, I will eat you. I will resort to cannibalism. And then he spoke on that statement that he made recently. He said, the thing is this, I have a family. So he's like, I meant what I said. He said, at the end of the day, if it was just me, I probably would let myself starve to death. But I got children. They got to eat. And a lot of Edomites, cannibalism is in the scriptures. And then the way that, the thing is this. These people in America are undisciplined. You got this whole concept of fast food. You know what I mean? So motherfuckers can't stop filling their face. Motherfuckers don't know first thing about going without a meal or fasting. Don't even understand the benefits of fasting. But that's a whole totally different thing. So a lot of the food you eat ain't even real food. So you already used to eating garbage. So when that day come, people going, you know what I mean? It's a movie called Solomon Green. Come to find out they was eating people. It's multiple movies that show this type stuff. You know what I mean? So anyhow, not to make this super long because I just did like a 30-minute video. But, when I read this title, it made me think of a few different things. It says thousands of federal inmates being released this week under law signed by Trump. Now, the law was signed in 2018. Thousands of federal inmates will be released this week in accordance with a law signed by former President Trump in 2018. The Department of Justice announced on Thursday that a new rule has been submitted to the Federal Register to begin applying the time credits program that was put forth in the First Step Act, which Trump signed in 2018. So it's basically like good time. You get what I'm saying? But that's not by happenstance or coincidence. That's just like, during the pandemic, basically because of the fact they said that this was so deadly and whatnot, they supposed to kept the most dangerous criminals and released like non-violent and, certain petty crimes. But what ended up happening is they was releasing actually like hardcore criminals, and the thing is, what do you think this about to do? At a time when you got crime going up because, life is getting harder. You know what I mean? The law allows eligible inmates to earn between 10 to 15 days of time credit for every 30 days. They participate in evidence-based recidivism reduction programs and productive activities. And that's another thing Esau does. You got to get that devil that much. This motherfucker know how to get some money. Seriously. When you get to understanding how many programs Esau put in place, like for instance, when you go into the projects, niggas think that he built the project, that Esau give a fuck about you and just want to put you in free housing. No, they made money off that shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. They put you in this cheap ass housing, you know what I mean? And then you got these contractors that make millions of dollars off this shit. Because they're using federal funds. You know what I'm saying? Up to 12 months of credit can be applied to supervised release at the discretion of the Bureau of Prisons Director, according to the DOJ, and they can be used retroactively from December 21st, 2018, which was the day Trump signed the bill into law. Credits earned can be then used to receive an early placement in pre-release custody. The First Step Act's a critical piece of bipartisan legislation promised a path to an early return home for eligible incarcerated people who invest their time and energy in programs that reduce recidivism. And that might, like with jail, they got a lot of programming. Once again, it may appear like they give a fuck and they trying to really make you a better pillar to society. But if that's the case, why is it so difficult for fucking people that's got records to get jobs? If that's the case, why have they taken out the programming as far as like you could go to jail at one point and used to be able to learn a trade so you could at least do something when you came home? Even if you just was doing the shit around your house. Nah, they ain't got no programming. They took that shit out of jail. So again, how is you gonna stop when it's easy to say all these things That's just like a nigga talking about what he gonna do before you get what I'm saying? Like a motherfucker that never been in a fight. All that training don't matter until you get in the fight. So, like the thing is, you could have all this program that they went through. Like that programming really doesn't work. They know that shit. So when it come down to it and it's lawlessness out here and people trying to eat and sustain their households, no matter how long and a dude had in his mind he didn't want to do certain things and he was staying away from, people going to do what they got to do. That's just, and they know this. Again, you got to understand this man is the devil. It tells you that he had basically completed a diligent search. He searched out a lot of different things. This devil know that the scriptures is real. He just doesn't really have faith. He's a carnal man. That's why he has the means to go look up. That's why they always find in some ancient scroll. That's how you got to know the Bible got to be real. You know what I mean? Bibles and scrolls and ancient tablets of the scriptures they done found. And he has the resources to go do all that. But he doesn't, like I said, this devil, I'm going to give you another piece of game too. This devil doesn't really truly believe in the Bible. Want to know why? Because if this place was truly founded on the scriptures, then, it talks about in the scriptures, train up a child in the way they should go and they will not depart. This country's supposed to be based on, the scriptures. So then how are we living in the day and age the way it is now? With all, just all these laws of the scriptures being broken left to right. Today, the Department of Justice is doing its part to honor this promise and is pleased to implement this important program, he added. So, point has been made, like they basically about to release all these federal inmates at a time when crime is going up. Like I say, So, that being said, it made me think of the scriptures and the book of Second Ezra. The second Ezra prophesies about, the last days. This is Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the land shall be barren of faith. And it talks about that in the scriptures. It talks about how when Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, returns, shall he find faith. And he will, because you're going to have the elect. Those are the only true believers. You know what I mean? When you go into the word token, it means signs. And the signs and tokens are the prophecies. So concerning, instead of saying tokens, the prophecies, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden. Right now, you got them deleting videos. You got them lying about, this medicine. They paint a picture of anybody that questions or speaks up about anything that's contrary to their narrative. Something's wrong with them or their conspiracy theorists or whatever the fuck. When you go into a word conspiracy, it's something that can't be proven. It's proven the fact that it's research that's been done to say that more people that took that medicine has gotten sick than the people that haven't taken it. That's fact. But yet you still have people, and that just, again, shows you how simple people are. And the land shall be barren of faith. This is the time like never before where you got more people don't believe in the scriptures. You got people that grew up in the Christian churches, that a lot of women that said fuck the Christian churches, and now they into witchcraft and all kind of shit. And this has all been foretold by the scriptures. And that's like the worst. You went from Christianity to witchcraft? Like, what kind of judgment you gonna get? But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. So, when you read the book of Matthew chapter 24, it talks about iniquity abounding. And iniquity is sin upon sin. Right now, you're seeing a lot of sin take place. You know what I mean? You got, like I said, you got transgenders reading to little kids in schools. You got, like just all kind of like just lawlessness and just sin upon sin, you know what I mean? Like it's just a lot of stuff going on, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like I say. And, the devil, Esau, Edom plays a huge role in this, you know what I mean? But, Jake play a part too, because, like I said, Jake is more carnal than Esau sometimes, you know what I mean? You got most of our people that's chasing a bag of money. You know what I'm saying? A paper bag of money when fiat currency, when money is fiat. When you go into fiat currency, you know what I mean? It's not real money, you know what I'm saying? That's why I think they came up with the game Monopoly. When you really pay attention to the game of Monopoly, that was like, And then through my research, I found this out too. When you go into like the Parker brothers, like that, who came up with Monopoly, the first thing that they actually built, board thing or whatever, was a Ouija board. So you know what I mean? Like at the end, when you look at the concept of monopoly, and that's why everybody in this country is literally like just so carnal and selfish and just all about. When you take time to paint the picture of this, you got everybody that's chasing after this bag to have things in this world to living beyond their means. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I think that's why the devil did that, because if you constantly just moving around and then you ain't taking time to sit back and think, you ain't paying attention to what the fuck going on for real. It says, I'm gonna skip verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and minstrels women shall bring forth monsters. So wild beasts changing their places. In California, you got a lot of mountain lions. So I remember the brother did a video on that. He was talking about how mountain lions are solitary creatures. They usually hunt by themselves. But for whatever reason, now you got mountain lions out in that area hunting together like wolves. That's all of the spirit of the Lord, because it tells you that the teeth of wild beast. That's a prophecy. You're gonna have people that's gonna be getting fucked up. Because the Lord going, you ever seen that movie Avatar? When the animals rose up to fight against the devil? That's what the Lord gonna put the spirit on these animals to fuck people up. That's how people gonna be judged for real. Like people gonna be getting killed by animals. These animals, when you take the time to think about how strong a gorilla or a lion is, people don't understand the fact that a lion could like fuck you all the way up. A gorilla could fuck you all the way up. And most of the time when you go to these zoos is literally these animals are on drugs. But when shit get fucked up, these lions and these animals, these orangutans and these wild beasts that supposed to be in the wild and not in no fucking zoo, they gonna literally come back in the spirit that the Lord put on them, and they gonna get about them bitches. Like I said, when you go into how strong a gorilla is, a chimpanzee can rip off. I remember that chimpanzee that ripped that bitch face off. That was a hell of a judgment that she got. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, wait till, what I'm saying, just imagine the strength of a gorilla. If you ever seen Planet of the Apes, they show you that shit. Remember, Caesar had all the gorillas. That was like his tanks. He used the gorillas to go, he fucked shit up for real. And you living in a time where mistress women shall bring forth monsters. Right now we living with this generation. What is they called? Millennials, Generation X. You know what I mean? That just don't give a fuck. And I feel sorry for that generation. I feel sorry for the children that's alive right now. That's why I made it a must to go get my kids all during that pandemic and take them outside. Because people don't even realize how fucked up the kids are based on that. Like they weren't allowed to be kids. That's like spiritually damaging. And it talks about woe to them that give suck in the last days. You know what I mean? Like, so, at the end of the day, we all here for a purpose because, it's the will of Yahweh Shem. Some is here for salvation, and some here for judgment. Skipping to verse 10, and shall be sought of many and yet not be found. I'm going to start at verse 9. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chambers. Because it talks about in the book of Amos chapter 8 about how it'll be a famine on the word. People going to be seeking answers, and you're not going to be able to get it. And that's the worst way to go through something, not knowing why. You can deal with a situation a lot better when you understand why. That's why knowing is like what they say, G.I. Joe said, knowing is half the battle. Because when you don't know something, that's when panic sets in. The scriptures talk about wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of thy time. And what's the wisdom and knowledge? These scriptures. Because the scriptures foretold it was going to be a time like this. Verse 10, and shall be sought of many and yet be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. So when you go into that word incontinency, Salakia, when you go into that word incontinency, my phone about to die too. It's 2%. Ooh. It says incontinency. Want of restraint of the passions of appetites, free or uncontrolled indulgences of passions or appetites. So basically, People gonna do as thou wilt. Like Aleister Crowley said, be it to do as thou wilt. And it's gonna be like that because right now you seeing with your own eyes because of these mandates, you've had police officers, soldiers walk away from their careers. In Chicago, what do you think is about to happen? We got brothers in Chicago. In Chicago, they say which one wilder, Chicago or New York, and they joke about it. But both of them cities is wild as fuck, and they both actually had a huge number of police officers leave. Like they already talk about the crime rate went up. So like, what do you think is about to happen? You see movies like Mad Max where you got warlords and shit like that. Like that's what Mad Max was. It was lawlessness, and then you had warlords that was basically running shit. You know what I mean? Like, man, you people don't even understand. So when they did that video talking about, that article talking about they gonna release all these federal workers, and like I said again, a person can come in the spirit, oh yeah, I'm about to get out there, I'm about to try and get some PUA money. they stopped a lot of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you got people still waiting on a stimulus check. That shit over with. You better go try and get what you didn't get the last 3 or 4 of them. You really think they give a fuck about giving you a stimulus check? You got billion-dollar businesses that got stimulus money out of that didn't, you know what I mean? Like, that was a money grab. Verse 11, one land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous go through thee? And it shall say no. So the point was, it's going to be a lot of lawlessness on the planet. And like I say, I'm, back that up with the precept in Matthew chapter 24. And my phone about to die, so I'm gonna just get straight to the point. But if you're familiar with the scriptures, anything in red letter is our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, speaking. But I ain't got time to actually read all of it because my phone about to die. So it says, because basically the disciples asked, how would you know the time of the end, and what would be the signs? And he went into all these different signs, and one of the main signs is Matthew chapter 24, verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So when you go into the word iniquity, it's basically sin upon sin. Matter of fact, it might pop up, but I'm trying to not let the phone die for shall abound iniquity. So
Strong's G 458, Anamia.
It say anomia, and it says a condition of without law, because of ignorant, because of violating it, contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. But it basically breaks down to sin upon sin, because the true law, like when you go into lawyers, their whole law system, all that, that's trying to, like when you go into the word lawyer, is lawyer, like the tribe of Levi, because they was given, they was the priest, they broke down the law, you know what I mean? So, a lot of stuff is based off around the scriptures, but to show you that these people are not of the scriptures, they turn everything, like they the man of sin. They turn, they against the scriptures. They the adversary. When you go into Satan, it simply means adversary. Just like when you go into the word devil, it simply means deceiver. It's not no motherfucker with no red horns and you know what I mean? Because Moses had horns. It's images that depict Moses with horns. So that make Moses the devil? No, horns represent power. Go look that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this red fucking devil that's running the world right now, because that man has power over the world. It tells you that in the book of Job, chapter 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. When you go into, like I said, the true judges is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The Most High God and His Son, our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. And He covered the images of them because Scripture tell you that, the Most High God and His Son are men of color. It's images of the Messiah and of the Most High God and the saints and the prophets and everybody having color. And they covered that up with the Renaissance. So they painted images to their likeness. And that's all in the scriptures. But anyhow, like I say, at the end of the day, because of iniquity abound, meaning sin upon sin, the love of many shall wax cold. So you about to see a lot of judgment. A lot of people about to get like a lot of death, and you've been seeing it. I have. Go on the Cleveland Remembrance page. It's somebody dying every fucking day. So, if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and to the commandments of Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Racha, Kodash Barakatham, Kodash Barakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who do rule well, and peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, and subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Until next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.